Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ogbanje Joseph. Today, we are going to be looking at the Second World War. The Second World War. Now, before we look at the Second World War, it is important to look at the Treaty of Versailles. Now, the Versailles Treaty was also called the Paris Peace Conference. That is the Paris Peace Conference because the conference was held in Paris. It held in January 12th, 1919, and the major objective was to look into the future of wars in the aftermath of the First World War and what kind of retributory position could the world take against the aggressors. It was also designed to punish Germany because it was seen as the aggressor as well as the cause of the First World War. Part of the punishment is that Germany should pay repatriation totaling 132 billion in gold. And they will also lose, 1/8 of their land, all of its colonized territories. Okay, so the war. Now let us look at the Second World War itself. Now, the failures of the League of Nations, because of course, the Treaty of Versailles actually led to the formation of the League of Nations. Now, the League of Nations actually failed because, of course, when it failed, it led to the Second World War, and the Second World War was fought between September 1st, 1939, and it ended in 1945. Now, the cause of the war was legion, but let me be quick to add that the war claimed over 59 million lives and over $2.3 billion was spent to prosecute the war. Now, what are the causes of the war? Number one is the expansion of Japan and its subsequent domination of the Southeast Asia. Number two is the gradual entrance into the demilitarized zone of Rhineland by Hitler. Number three is the Italian entrance of Ethiopia and hegemonic tendencies. Then number four, the Spanish Civil War between July 1936 to April 1939. Then number five, Germany's annexation of Austria in 1938. So these are actually the causes of the Second World War. But there are other causes which I'm going to explain right now. The other causes are, first of it is the failure of the peace effort. Now, during the 1920s, there were efforts to achieve a stable peace. The first was the establishment of the League of Nations, but its powers were limited to only persuasion, moral and economic sanctions, but that did not prevent the conflict. That is the Second World War. Now, the second other reason was the Washington Conference of 1921, which was to limit naval powers of states. Now, the third was the Locarno Conference of 1925, and lastly, the Instrument of National, the Kellogg Brand Pact of 1928, where countries renowned war as instruments of national policy. Okay, so we have other reasons now, and like I said, the first reason for the occurrence of the Second World War, the first other reason, apart from the immediate causes that I mentioned, the other reason was, one of it is the failure of the peace effort. Now, I talked about the peace effort Okay, now the league in the establishment. I talked about the league. The peace efforts. What are the peace efforts? We looked at the League of Nations. We look at the Washington Conference of 1921. We also looked at the Locarno Conference of 1925, and then the last one is the Kellogg Brand Pact of 1928. Now, the second other reason is Germans' aggression in Europe. Now, okay, Hitler launched the expansionist drive. Hitler launched the expansionist drive, with the annexation, okay, with the annexation of Austria in March 1938. Benito Mussolini of Italy supported him. Again in 1938, Hitler threatened war to annex the western border area of Czech Republic. But the Soviet Union under Joseph Stalin had offered to support the Czech Republic. The third other reason is the rise of fascism. Now, fascism is a form of nationalistic, militaristic totalitarianism known by its Italian name, fascism. It promises, to be better than democracy. Benito Mussolini of Italy established the first fascist, European dictatorship during the interwar period in Italy in 1922. Okay, now the fourth other reason is the formation of coalition. Adolf Hitler preached racist brand of fascism and argued that the German people are supporters, and argue that the German people, should support, that the German people are superior race. He won election in 1933, on the basis of racism, of preaching the German, the superiority of the German race, and of course he became the German chancellor and quickly established himself as a dictator. Japan also, in line with what Hitler, was doing, imposed a similar type of totalitarianism to defeat China at the Battle of Manchuria in 1931. Number 5 of the other reason is the economic, reason, or that's the Great Depression. Now, with the crash of the New York stock market of 1929, and the US recalled, all foreign loans, okay? But when the debtors are unable to repay these loans, the economies of the West collapsed, bringing about the depression. So we have the immediate causes of the Second World War, and then we also have the remote causes. The remote causes are 5. The immediate causes are the ones I earlier mentioned, and they are also 5. So thank you very much.